The mean and standard deviation for a binomial distribution are given by these formulas. The mean, or expected value, for the random variable is n times p. And we remember that binomial distributions satisfy certain criteria. Those criteria are that you would only have two possible outcomes. We consider those a success or a failure. There are n independent trials. The probability of a success is consistent from trial to trial, and we call that probability little p. So here in our formula, for the mean we have the number of trials and the probability of a success. And then the standard deviation is found by the square root of that product and then multiplied by Q, which would be the complement of the probability of a success, or in other words, the probability of a failure. So let's look at this example. Suppose a survey revealed that 30% of households in a city no longer had a landline phone. If 500 households are randomly selected, determine the mean and standard deviation for the number of households with landline phones. Now, there's a couple of things we want to pay attention to here. We've got with. This question is asking us for the mean and standard deviation for the number of households with landline phones. And what we're given here is that 30% of households no longer had landline phones. So we have to pay attention to what actually is a success here. This time it would be to find a house with a landline phone, and that probability then would be 0.7, 1 minus 0.3. Now, also, this says that 500 households are randomly selected, and so this is assuming that if we were to do this process over and over and over and over and over, select groups of 500, what would be the average number of households that we would find that have a landline phone? So n is 500, the number of trials in the experiment, and this mean, or in other words, the expected value, would be 500 n times p, 0.7. So 350. And the standard deviation would be the square root of 500 times 0.7 times 0.3. And if we round this to one decimal place, we're going to wind up with 10.2.